This is a game that I actually didn't realize it's a bit old. It's already 5 years old, but I still wanted to talk about it. Maybe in the future we could have a corner sometimes in our episodes about games we missed, games that are a bit old already, but we kind of missed when they were new.
Yeah, people can send in their suggestions as well on our email.
Oh yeah, sure.
Or Discord. That would be great.
So the next game I played, it's called Pumpkid, and it's a game for the VIC-20. So that's already a computer that gets a lot less attention than the 64 or consoles. So I'm always happy when we get something for the VIC-20. And it's a game by Hugo. Do you remember, Andy?
Oh yes, we talked about him. Was he did was it Cheesy Trials?
Yes.
Oh yes.
I think that was the second episode, second game we ever talked about. Cheesy Trials 2 years ago or something like that. And I really liked that game, so I had to play this one as well. And this is really what I would call a hardcore retro game, meaning that it's simple, it's got simple rules, it looks old, of course, and it's hard. And I can tell you, Andy, are not gonna like this game. You're gonna rage quit it very quickly.
I'm not gonna play it, so no. Yeah.
It's hard, but I loved it. I like that. And you can think of it this way. It's Halloween, so a little bit of suffering is also on the menu here.
Well, yeah, this game looks tough as nails, as someone would put it.
It is quite tough. It is tough. And so this is 5 years old. It's a free download on each. But there used to be at least a tape version for about $5. I'm not sure if it's still on sale. But there used to be for someone who wanted a physical version, and it was only $5. So if it's still possible, I would recommend it for someone who, of course, has a physical VIC-20 to play it with, not an emulator or something like that. So what's the story about this game?
There is a story. Okay.
There's a story.
That's good. Good.
The story is it's 12 days till Halloween, and there's an evil witch called Hazel on the loose, and she's probably looking for lost children to kidnap or something like that. You are, in fact, a child, I think, that's been turned into a pumpkin by the witch. So every time you
start... that is a pumpkin. I thought it was a heart, like a beating heart.
I thought it was an apple.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a tomato. So now we have the full range of misunderstanding. But it's supposed to be a pumpkin. Yes. Every time you start the game, and also every time you lose a life, you see the life left. You see the witch flying by one of these life left and turning it into a pumpkin, and then the pumpkin walks out of the screen and gets into the game.
Okay, so they got a little intro as well. That's nice.
So the little story is you have to defeat the witch every day. Then she comes back the next day. Presumably there are 13 levels. I didn't make it that far because it's hard. But it starts 12 days before Halloween. So you can figure out there's probably 13 days, including Halloween. So the game plays on a single screen. It's a tile-based map, so you move square by square. The screen represents a cemetery or graveyard. And to defeat the witch, you have to shoot her 6 times before the dawn. So there's a timer there which tells you what time it is. I think it starts at 10 p.m. And maybe every minute, I don't know, I didn't time it precisely, but every minute or so it moves forward by 1 hour. So you have time until, I suppose, 6 or 7. Usually I die before that time, or I beat the level before that time. You can also see that there's a moon in the sky that moves forward, so you know more or less how close you are to the end of the time. You have to defeat the witch by shooting her 6 times before the dawn. And as you play this game, you see this screen in typical VIC-20 colors, very retro. There's some tombs around that they are obstacles, so you have to move around these. There's some walls, and the witch is a green sprite, and she's flying around the cemetery on her broom. She kind of moves in bursts, so she stops in a place, and then suddenly she moves straight in one of the 4 directions, and then stops, and then again. So like small straight movements, but not all the time. Sometimes
It looks really random.
It looks random. Don't know how truly random it is, but for practical purposes, you can't tell where she's gonna move next. So that's the point. And you also move in 4 directions. And to shoot her, you actually have to collect ammunition, which is in the form of candies that appear on the screen. You pick up these candies, maximum 6 at the beginning, and then you can shoot her. And you can shoot only left or right, actually, not up or down. But I'm not completely sure if I had something wrong with my controller, but I think that's how it works. And so you have to shoot her with these candies that they actually don't work super well because they have a sort of limited range. At some point they stop on the ground. You can pick them up again, but it means you can't be too far from the witch to actually hit her.
Oh, because it's ranged. Okay.
Yeah, you throw candy in her face. But yeah, you can only throw that far, of course. It falls on the ground after a while. You can throw that far, especially if you're in Pumpkin.
Yeah,
with no arms. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, and then of course the witch has some allies. There are other creatures around. There's ghosts, white ghosts. These are very slow. They move very slowly. They move 1 tile at a time. So they're very easy to shoot. You can actually ignore them if you want, but you die if you bump into them. And also you die if you touch the witch. So I think it's a good idea to shoot the ghosts so that you clear the map a little bit. You want the cemetery to be the least crowded as possible because eventually you'll need to run. But I'll tell you that in a minute. So in addition to the ghosts, there are zombies, or according to the instructions, they are veggie zombies.
Veggie zombies. That's for you.
They're green zombies, and they appear only at midnight. It says in the instruction that at midnight the dead will rise. So you start seeing this zombie appearing as if they are popping out or digging their way out from the ground. They are also very slow. They also move very slowly. So in theory, they don't look much like a threat. But in this case, you can't really kill the zombies. If you shoot them, they just stop and they kind of go back to the ground a little bit and then they get out again.
So if you shoot them repeatedly, would they go completely underground?
And I think you can't completely get rid of them.
Okay.
They just go back down, and then they will rise again. And so I said that you want the map to be as clear as possible from these critters, because each time you hit the witch, she starts moving faster. It's like she appears to get angry, and especially just after you hit her, you better not stay in that spot, because after a small time, she usually just charges into you quickly.
I was going to ask a question in regards to this. So you say she moves in bursts, the other ones move one tile at a time. Is this like a movement? Is this movement like linked to yours, like Roguecraft and that sort of game where you move once, and Pure Power as well, you move once, they move once? Is it that sort of dynamic? Or
no, they move also if you don't move.
So they just move, and then you have to move.
Yes.
Okay.
It's more like Pac-Man.
Yeah. I just didn't understand because okay.
Very slow Pac-Man. Or something. Right? Yeah.
And
a little bit more free roaming.
Yeah, so she gets angry, you were saying. She looks like she gets angry.
So usually after you hit her, you wanna run. You wanna run, and when the map is crowded, you can bump into monsters easily without noticing. It is an issue. So that's why I said it. I usually wanted to get rid of the ghosts, even if they are slowly moving. But every level has a different map, and some maps are challenging. Like the tombs are obstacles, and they also are the same color as the ghost. So sometimes you might take one for another. And some maps require you to move around a little bit to get some room for escaping. So it's quite difficult. It is difficult to play this game. There's also an additional complication, probably the last one, but so every time you hit the witch, she also usually drops a skull, or poisoned skull as they call it in the instructions, that looks yellow. It doesn't move, but still you should not touch it or you die. And I think they can't be destroyed, so they just stay there just to crowd the whole area one more time. And then each time you hit the switch, so she drops a skull, and then in the top right corner where you usually see the candies you've collected, now these skulls appear also there to remind you how many times you've hit the witch. But because they appear in the same place where the counter of the candies is, the effect is that you can't hold as many candies as before.
Oh, that's interesting.
So at the beginning it's 6.
Like a UI sort of thing.
At the beginning is 6. Then you hit the witch once, and now your maximum number of candies is 5. And then 4, 3, 2, 1. So it means that then you have to run to collect new candies. If you have only one, you can shoot once, and then you have to find another one as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, this is very interesting. It's lots of little.
It looks really like an arcade game.
Yeah, it could be, especially because it's mean, so it would work well as a coin-op game.
Yeah, just like a single-screen arcade game from back in the day. Would be a really cool arcade game, actually.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes. Okay, so that's it. I don't think there's much more. I think, well, you can sometimes find these other lost child to rescue, that they look yellow, so you can usually tell apart from most of the other sprites, and they give you an extra life. But that's it. It's a very challenging game, and you don't get that many lives to play with, and it's really fast. You have to be really quick when the witch gets angry to avoid her. it is difficult. So it makes for very, very hardcore style of gaming, this one. If you like.
Does it have a high score mechanic? Do you know if there's a high score mechanic? So
what kind of mechanic? Well, you have a score, yes. But
like, are there any multipliers or stuff like that, or
or maybe if you beat the level quickly, that you get more points, stuff like that. Because that could be a cool high score game as well.
No one's going to vote this for a high score challenge. They will vote a game that has nothing to do with that.
It's a little bit
a point-and-click adventure.
Difficult, but yeah, well, you don't get any multipliers as far as I know, but I'm not sure if you get more points if you finish earlier. I really didn't notice, but maybe.
Very well. Okay. Well, this is an interesting addition to the Halloween stuff that we've been talking about, the Halloween games. And I like
definitely Halloween.
Yuko does it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that brings.